Yes, Puneet, you can continue.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, can you please give me the permission to share?
Yes. Yes, given.
Okay, so thank you. So, okay. Now, previously we have the three sections, and now what I am doing is, so these three sections I am dividing into the three components. Okay, let's say the header part is already like separated as a header component, and so the body part also we need to have the another component like. So this is a body component, and here how we can use it with the help of the file name. So what is the file name? So here I need to use the body. So like we will just call it as a tag here. So whatever the file name is given, so that file name will be call it as a here in the in the form of tag. So for the footer, again I'm creating a footer page. Okay, so this footer, how I am calling it as a tag. Now, when I see the UI, so when I see the UI, okay, so now you can see it. So there is a one header section. So what how it is showing? So it is a header component. Whenever I am moving into the header component, it is having the header like heading of header. So it is showing that. So whatever the things inside the header will be presenting in the top, and the body will be next, and the footer will be third. So if I interchanging this position, so okay, what typically we are doing is we are just exchanging their positions. So here also the rendering position also it is changing. Okay, so these how the components are working. So this is how we are maintaining the React application. So like in order to create a React application, we have this command, and after creating, we have this app.js file. Like from the app.js file. So we are having these components. We need to create everything as a sections, and we need to maintain it like this. Okay, so we need to call it everything like this. So we need to have everything as a separate component, and so this is nothing but, so the app component is nothing but a parent component, and the body header footer is a child component. So for the like from whose like this will be child, so this is a child component for the app, which is a app is a parent, and these three are a, like child components. Okay, so this is how we are processing it. And so coming to the next thing, yeah, so this is how we are rendering it. Okay, so this is like in order to run that application we have the command like npm start. I already told you, right? So yeah, so coming to the next step. So yeah, so this is the main. So why we are using the React application? Because as I already told you, we can have a ability to divide every section as a component. So whenever we are dividing each section, let's say here, how many sections we have? We have three sections here. Let's say in the top I have the header, and in the bottom I have the body, and here I have the footer, right? So if I move to the body, let's say if I change anything in the body, it won't even affect for the header, because I am changing it here in the like body file, right? It won't affect the header, it won't affect the footer, right? So that's where it is useful. Like whenever like, it is only changing the body one, it won't even reflect the header, it won't even reflect the footer. So that's where even Google also doing it. So here, like Google is having one component for the navbar and another component for the result, another component for the footer, right? The same thing. We are also doing it. So whenever we are typing anything, they are just like re-render this like body tag, right? So the same thing, we have the same ability for the React. So whenever we are chunking everything into the components, we have the ability to change only one piece of code. We will not do change the everything. We will just change it in one file. It will only reflect in that particular component, in that particular place only. It won't even change for the other components. Other files we don't even bother about those. Okay, only it will change for the component. So that's where we have the ability to change everything in the component. The reusability word is very crucial when you are a developer. So okay, reusability is nothing but, let's say you created one web page. Okay, so how we can say it? So something like, if I say we previously developed one. So yeah, so now here you can see it. So here I have four cards, right? So which is having the four cards. Let's say we have four cards here, which is having the same CSS. We don't even change this condition. So let's say these four cards, if we build it in the four separate lines. Okay, so if you have something like, how I can say that. So let's say here it is having four boxes, right? So let's say if they ask me to increase the size of the font for the customer, let's say they asked, so increase the font size for this title. Okay, so we need to go every page. Let's say if we have everything in a separate code base, so what we are doing, so we need to increase separately for every line. So how we can do it? So I'm just right clicking on it, and here I need to have the font size, and which is having the 24 pixels. And here only it is changing. It will not affect the other files, right? So it will not going to change the other lines. Why it is not changing? Because these are the separate files, separate code. So in order to do it in the in order to having the reusability concept is nothing but whenever you have the similar functionality, like similar type of UI. Okay, similar type of UI. So then what you are doing is, we like here you can see it. So everything is similarly. So it is having the one box here, and after that it is having the one card for every four, and also it will have one icon here. So just what we are doing, so we just like changing the color of the inside box, and we are changing the icon. That's it. We are not going to change anything of the CSS part, right? So there is nothing changes here. So what it is doing is, so we have one component, and we need to make a use of for these four. Okay, we need to write one HTML code. Okay, and so using that HTML code, we need to reuse it for the second one and third one and fourth one. Okay, so like what typically we are doing is, we will only return for the customer tag, and here we will only create for this customer, and for this invoice estimate and due amount we will make a use of the first one. So that's where the reusability concept will be occurred. So okay, so like it is nowhere useless. So like we will not going to use for everything. Let's say it's not shown. Okay, so if we like selecting this type of like images, let's say, so here for the invoice, so let's say if I have the separate code base, again, if they ask me any type of change, okay, so let's say if they want to change, increase the font size here, then what we need to do is, so we just need to have the one code base. Whenever I'm changing in a one line, it will affect the four component. Okay, it will affect the four things. Okay, it will not only for the one line. So okay, so that's where it is useful in a React application. We have something like reusability concept in a React. So whenever you're coding in a React, so you need to use this word like reusability. And again, so easier maintenance of code. So why? Because here we have everything is developed in the chunks, right? So chunks is nothing but everything we are dividing into the section. So whenever we are having the new feature, it is easy like whenever like there is some change, so it is just like having easier change, right? So because we will only open that particular component. So if let's say here in the web page, right? Yeah, so here let's say here in the body, instead of body, if they asked me to show it as a paragraph, so what, rather than doing like rather than opening everything, the headers and footers, I will directly move to the body file, and instead of body I will write it as a paragraph here directly. Okay, so this is the easily maintenance of the code. So how we are maintenance. So this is a completely why we are using this React application. So this is completely on component based architecture. And second one is unidirectional flow. Unidirectional flow in this sense, let's say in order to render some contents, okay, what we are doing, so we are just rendering one HTML tags, right? In the each component we are rendering one HTML component, and in this HTML components what we are having, we have the view is nothing but whatever you're seeing it, right? So we have some events are nothing but, let's say in this web application, so here, okay, we have some events. So something like here the button is there whenever we are clicking, so clicking is nothing but an event. Okay, so we have this type of clicking events. So whenever we are event is presenting, event is nothing but a click event. So this is a click event, and there are something like yeah, so here the hover event, on hover, okay, on focus. So these are the nothing but events. Okay, so whenever there is an event occurred, so what it is doing, so when the event is occurred, the event will trigger the state is nothing but, so here initially, so yeah, for the invoice initial state is like it is a collapsed view, right? So for the invoice there are some menus inside the invoice, but initially it is not showing. But whenever the event is happening, event is nothing but a click event is happening, so then it will expand the view for the invoice. Okay, so then when the event is happening, the state is getting changed, okay, from the collapsed view to from the open view. Okay, so then the view is getting opened. Now you got the concept of unidirectional flow, right? So how we are how we are maintaining the unidirectional flow. Unidirectional flow is nothing but initially the view is present, the invoice view is present, but whenever the event occurred, it will trigger the state value, and it will change the state value to collapse it to open. Okay, so that's where, so the unidirectional flow is not happening in the React. Okay, these are the two main components. So that mainly choosing the React applications. Okay, okay. So now you understand. So how we are writing the code in React, and how we are displaying the content in React, and how we are maintaining the components in the React. So now you have got to understand, right? Now coming to the third step. So everyone can write the program, any type of programming languages, but so there are some key points need to be put it in your mind. So those are we need to follow. So these steps. Okay, let me zoom these things. Yeah, can you see my screen? Yeah. So yeah, let me close this. Again, yeah. So now here the first one is folder structure. Okay, folder structure is nothing but we need to have the folder structure. Clear folder structure need to be there. So why? Because so if you open this folder structure in the source folder, how we are dividing, so there is a asset folder. Asset is nothing but was whatever the assets, nothing but images or something like video clips we are using in our web applications, right? So those type of assets need to be insert only in one place. Just we are organizing everything. Okay, so whenever you're making a one web application, so in order to work in the React application, you need to have this folder structure in your mind. Okay, so this folder structure is having what it is having. It is having the assets. Assets is nothing but where typically we are organizing all the assets, nothing but images or videos or something. Any type of static files will be there, right? Those type of static files will be represented in a asset folder. Okay, and we have the API calls in the front end, right? In order to maintain those API calls, we will do all the API calls in a one place, that is a API folder. Okay, so there is another config files is nothing but whatever we have some confidential files, right? Confidential in the sense we have some security keys or API keys or something like which we should not show for the public, right? So those type of keys will be coming under the config files. Okay, so there is another one is a component is nothing but whatever we are writing the component, so those components need to be there in the component folder. So these all are the folders. And hooks, libraries, service libraries are nothing but a whatever like for the application. In order to make an application, we need to identify what are the common features are nothing but, let's say here, so now you can see it. So in this particular page, it is a product list page, right? For every list you can see it, there is a one table will be there for every list. For the customer list also we have the table, for the product table also we have the table, and invoices also we have the table, and for every page there will be one table. I think there is error here. Okay. Okay, so there will be one page. So whenever we are moving any one page, so it is having everything as a table. So this type of component representation. So we need to have this table as a separate component. Why? Because so later, if they don't want the search here, so like you can see it, everything. So for every table, there is a search here, and they can search in this particular search bar, right? So like later, if they want to move this particular search field to left, right, okay, to from left to right, if they want to make these type of minor changes, okay, they won't ask for the major changes. If they want even ask for the minor changes also, again what we need to do for the HTML code, we need to move every page of code and we need to make a change everywhere, right? Rather than doing that, we will have the one table component here, and in that table component we will make a use of those table component everywhere in our application. Okay, so that's where how we can do it. So we will change this position of the search from the left to right in a one file. It will reflect in every page. Okay, we don't need to bother about any type of like this particular page or this particular page. We won't even depend on those. Rather we are maintaining one component and we will work on those component only. We just make a use of those components. Okay. So yeah, so those type of components are coming under whatever we are making a use of things. So those are coming under the libraries. Okay. So there are some services files, state files, and utils. Utils is nothing but there are some util functions which are need for the time conversions. There are some functions need to be there, right? So in order to perform dates, let's say date conversions here, so created it showing like 36 ago, 36 days ago, so like that, right, for the products. But whenever we are going to the customer, again, yeah, here we are not showing it, and for the invoice also we are not showing it. Okay, I think I don't have the data. So here what we are doing is, so here we have the dates. Okay, rather than doing everything, yeah, invoice date is there, right? So in the product created it is nothing but showing as 36 days ago. It is showing. But whenever I'm going to the invoice section, here I need to show the date. But I need to have one code, like one code in the sense, let's say I have something like string. Okay, so this is that completely date string which we stored in the database, and so we can make a use of this date string. And what it is doing, it is like giving the date and month and day and also the time. Okay, it is showing every information, and we are making a use of this notation, and we will just render what like however we want. Okay, we can also make it as a 30 to 36 days ago, and the same date string, we will not going to change anything here. Just we will write a like wrap function is directly, but on top of the like on top of the date string, we will create one more function called, so our which will convert the date string to our requirement. Okay, so those type of functions, utilization functions, okay, those will coming under the utilization function util folder. Okay, so I will also give you example how those need there are. Yeah, so this is the React application we build in our for our grow invoice. So in the source folder, now you can see it. So everything is structured, right? So we have the API folder in the SRC. We have the API folder, assets folder. Assets are folder nothing but every image folder. You can see it. The JSON file is here. SVG, that is but the ES background images, logos, and spinner like loader spinners, and everything will be in a same assets folder. And so there is one shared folder will be there. Shared folder is nothing but a but in the dashboard you can see this card itself. I told it. So we are maintaining one card and we are the name, icon, value, background color, now. So nothing but these five information will only the dynamic ones, which is changing. So we have the styles part, everything as a common, but so this title need to be there. This is the first change, and so the value need to be changed. This is the second change, and icon third change, and the background color also changing. That is the fourth change, right? So these four changes, so is coming uh, based on this on these four changes will be present in the shared folder, nothing but a library folder which is used across the application. Okay, so data grid fields. Data grid is nothing but a it is another type of table HTML code data grid. Okay, for the data grids also we are maintaining separate folder, and for the dialogues are nothing but if we want to delete, if you want to delete it anything. So there is not only here for the customer also. Whenever we are deleting, we need to show the error. You can see it. Everything is looking like a same component, right? So even I delete the product, it will only change this information. It will not going to change the UI or icon or background color or everything. It will not change anything. It will only change the text contents which is inside the dialogue. Okay, so those things will be like having in a library, that is a common function. So this is how we are maintaining the shared libraries. Okay, so this is how we are having the folder structure for the React. Okay, for the APIs also we are maintaining in a one folder. Now you can see it in the service. You can see it. Every file is created. Auth is nothing but authentication company, whatever the company is regarding, like whatever the API is calling from the front end in order to get the company information, right? So there will be a one like company like JavaScript file will be there, and currency API. This currency is nothing but, so this file only will interact with the currency APIs. Okay, so this customer file will only interact with the customer APIs. Okay, so
Guys, you
whatever
know what is API, right? He's using this word frequently. Are you able? Are you know this thing? So we can Pritam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Yeah, Pranit, continue.
yeah, sure. So so here the front end is nothing but a rendering the application, but typically so there are some like things need to be driven from the back end, right? So what those fields, so here it is showing the customer is one, but like that, even though the customer is one, here you can see it, the customer, like I have the one customer here, But so this customer information need to be stored in a DB, right? But so we need to pick the customer and we need to show it in the front end. How we can do that? So we have one thing in the middleware, so that is a backend. So in between the database and front end, so there is a one more layer called backend. So what backend will doing is, so whenever I'm refreshing, yeah, so I'm just refreshing the page. Now you can see it. So for the front end, in order to show this customer information, so there is one API it is calling. So the customer API in the response, you can see it what it is doing. So it is having the customer name, everything in a JSON is nothing but a simply a something like we have the dictionary in the Python, we have the dictionary and list and everything, right? Dictionary is nothing but a simply it is having the pair of key and values. So it's the same thing. So here it is having the key and value. So okay, so here the name is a key and the value is, so these like Somshakar Pranit is a customer name, whatever the customer it is presenting. So this is coming from the backend. So what backend is doing? So what backend? So whenever we are hitting one particular API, so this is API. Whenever we are hitting this API, it will immediately contact with the back like database. It will fetch all the customer details regarding this particular user, and it will populate in the front end table. Okay, so what we are doing, uh, what backend is doing is it will pull the data from the DB and it will throw it to the front end. So what front end will do is, so front end will take the data from the backend and it will present in some good manner in the sense it will present in a table, something like this. Okay, from the backend we are getting only the JSON file, something like a JSON format. Okay, so this is how the front end and back end, these all concept will be going on. So let us look into the example how the front end is coding. Okay, so already we started this React application, right? So in this React application, yeah, I already built one form here. Here you can see that. Are you able to see my screen or shall I zoom it? Oh. So here what I am doing is, so here I have the form tag here. So on submit, I am calling one function. So okay, so what here we are doing is, so we have one state variable. Okay, in this state variable, we have the defaultly username and password as an empty field. And so initially those are empty, right? So user won't even give any input. Initially those are empty. I'm just starting this page. In order to start the application, we have command log and pm start. So whenever I'm hitting this command, it will start the server. Now you can see it. It is having, yeah. Okay, it is having one UI for the username and password. Okay, whenever you're typing anything, like if I type username and password, you can see it. So what we are doing, so yeah, so this is a username label is showing initially. Okay, yeah, username is showing. After that, it is having the input field. Yeah, it is having the input field, and in this input field, initially what we are having form data dot username, like form data dot username in the sense. Like when I click on the form data, so it will, yeah, form data dot username. Initially, what it is having empty, right? So that is the initial value. So initially, when I open the page, the value will be null. So there is no value, right? So that's where it is showing. And on change, what it is happening? Like whenever we are changing here, on change, it will trigger this function. In this function, what it is doing? It will take the name here. It will take the name and value, like what is the field and what is the value. Field is nothing but a username field, right? So what is the field, and it will take the what is the value is nothing but a something like if I give it as a Pranit, so value is Pranit and field is username. Okay, so and it will store it here in the state variable. It will just store it in the state variable like username. Under the username, the value will get stored. Okay, so like this, how it is going, the value and on change functionality will be happening. And so next coming to the password, it is also happening the same. So even whenever we are changing on the password field, it will take the field name that is a password. this field is for the password, right? And it will take the field as a password, and the value is whatever I'm typing it here. Okay, and when I submit, so we need to like display this whatever I'm typing it. In this particular whatever I'm typing it, it is displayed as a value. But when I submit, in order to debug any one of the in the javascript, if you want to debug is nothing but, so it should not display for the front end, but you need to see it. Okay, as a developer you need to debug it. You debug in the sense, you need let's say in this, I think how many lines I have written in these 44 lines. I don't know where I got the error. Let's say here, instead of name, I will make it as, oh yeah, instead of value, I will make it as a value something like this. Okay, even though I can see the front end. Oh, it is not showing. Okay. Okay, so even though, so I can see the front end, but the value is not, yeah, whenever I'm typing it, anything it is not representing, right? It is only having the default value as a value. But even though I'm typing it, it is not presenting the data. So why? Because there is one error. But those type of errors should not be displayed for the user, right? But you need to debug it. How you can debug it? So we have beautiful feature in the every browser, that is a console tab. So where the console tab will be representing is, so whenever you're like right click on any web page, you have the inspect element button will be there. So when you click on this inspect, you have this console button. Console tab will be there. In this console tab, you can see every information, whatever the things user cannot see, but you can see it, this console tab. This console tab you can see it right here. So this console tab only for the developers, not for the end users. Okay. So now, so when I type anything, let's say if I type it something and if I submit it, now you can see the username is coming as a value and password also it is coming as a value. Why? Because instead of having the variable, instead of printing the variable, we just having the static string, which is a value we are printing it. But we need to have the variable, right? So that's where we need to debug those type of errors. Okay. So yeah, in order to debug, how we can debug is, so let's say I want to know what is name and what is the value I'm getting. Okay, so let's take a look on here. I'm using the console dot log. I'm just logging it. I'm just console logging the name and value here. So okay, let's see. Whenever I'm typing in the username field, okay, now you can see it. Whenever I'm typing one letter, it is console log. The first thing is a name, because here first thing is a name, right? So the name is username, and second one is value. So here you can see it, right? Okay, whenever I'm changing the field, it is representing everything. Okay, give me 1 minute. Let me come. Yeah. Okay. So so this is how we are console log, like this is how we are debugging it, like everything. So here what we are doing, so we are printing the name and value. So I don't know whether what the things here it is coming, but in order to know this type of values, okay, so we need to have one feature called consoling. So okay, we are logging everything, and those type of logs can be displayed in a console tab. Okay, so how we can see it? When we right click on the any web page, we have the inspect tab. So when we click on the inspect, we have the console tab will be presenting here. Okay, so here you can see it everything. Okay, so this how we are having the debug things in the front end. Even the console tab, like console line. So this console will be presenting for the back end too. The same line. So the same line will be using for the console for the both front end and also for the back end too. Okay. So in the front end, like we can also develop, we can also debug everything in a console tab in an inspect element. Okay. So this is the first thing. Oh yeah. 1 second. I got sorry. Yeah. So yeah, so this is how we are console like debugging the front end. So in order to debug the front end, we have the like wherever we want to debug. So in that particular line, we need to console log everything as like this. Okay, we need in the console log within the brackets we need to pass the variable name whatever we need to debug. So like I want to check what the name is getting and what the value is getting it, right? So in order to debug these things, I'm making a use of this console log. Okay, so this is how we are debugging the front end. Okay, so that's first step. So now, yeah, so now you got understand the how front end is how front end is like. So here I have one list here. Let's say here I have the list. List is nothing but an array. Okay, in this array what it is having, it is having two objects here. Okay, with the objects having the key and value. So wherever you are seeing the objects, the key should be same. Okay, because the key is main primary thing. So whenever you're calling in the like in the front end, okay, the key need to be same. Okay, let's say here I have id and name. Here I have two things, one is the id and another one is the name. The key is same but the value will be changing. Okay, so there is another component. So this is the so what we are doing, we are like passing it as a props. Props is nothing but item. So we are passing only this particular item. Let us see the example here. I am making one more component like uh, sorry. Okay, now I am having the list. Okay, how many items I have initially? Let's say I have two items here, and for these two items I need to like have the one render element need to be there. Oh sorry, not here. So outside of it I need to have a list item. Okay, in the list item, what we are doing, we are just passing props. Props is nothing but whatever the dependencies in order to render this particular HTML. What things we need? We need the name and description, right? Let's see how it's going to be. Okay, so now, so instead of here, okay, here, what we are doing, so we will call. Okay, now you can see it. I am just like using the expression. Expression is nothing but whenever you are printing one variable. So list is a variable, right? Whenever you're printing the variable in a HTML code, we need to make a use of this expression, nothing but a curly braces. Okay, within the curly braces only you can able to call the variables. Okay, so I'm calling the variable like variable name called list. So for the each list, in order to map is nothing but iterating every variable every time. Okay, first time it will iterate the first value, and second time it will iterate the second value. Okay, so for the first value I get id and also name. So I will pass that id and name to the list item which is already in the top I written, right? So this component, so this component, it what it will do, so it will represent in the h3 like h3 tag, it will just show the name, and paragraph tag it will show the description. Let's see. So we don't have the description here, right? Let's see. If I print the description instead of description, I want to print the id here. In the paragraph tag, what I am displaying the id, and in the h3 tag I am displaying the name. Okay, let's see how it is going to look into. So we it won't show it so even. Okay, so whenever I'm refreshing this page, so there is that component. So we created the list view, right? But it is not showing in the web page. Why? So because in the index.js, it is a main file, right? In the index.js, we are calling the app folder, but in the app folder, we only have the form, but we don't have any other components, right? So okay, but there is no interlinking in between this list view and also the app.js. But in order to have the interlinking, we will make a, yeah, so we need to call it somewhere. The list we need to be call it somewhere. After the button, I am just calling the list view. Okay. So now I just like call the list view function, like list view component after the button, right? Now you can see it after the button, it will show all the things. So here initially what it is doing for the first value, it will take the name h3 tag and also the paragraph tag is the id. So item 2 and also again the id will be doing. So later, if I do change anything here in the list view, let's say here I added one more here. So here I added like 10 more. Okay, let's say only I'm changing the list view, right? It won't affect the form. Okay, let's see here you can change. You can see it. So everything is already like displaying. So later, if they want, if they asked me to increase the item one, sorry, this title size, let's say if they later, if they want to increase this size, so just we need to change it in one line. So here in the H3 tag, I'm just replacing it as a H1 tag. So when I change it, it will also change for everything. For every item, it is changing, right? So that's where we are having the reusability concept. What we are doing, we are having one component and we are making a use of for particular this component and we are making a use of for these 10 list. Okay, so this one particular component will be helpful for like for rendering. So these 10 items. Okay. Okay. So yeah, so this is how we are doing the front end and how we are doing the console logs. That means so these type of things. And coming to second one, that is state management. So okay, like better. So for the state management is nothing but let's say so here, let's say state management, when the state management will come up is, we have user authentication, right? Let's say here I logged in the user, but until unless the user is logged out, we should not ask them the login again, right? So that even won't nice for the customer every time they don't need to log in, right? Even for the Gmail also, once you sign in, it won't even ask for you next time until unless you logged out. Okay, so that's where even we also should do that. Okay, so this one place I'm just telling you. So state management is nothing but whenever the user is logged in, we need to maintain the user. Like whenever if they remove the page, if they like close the place, even though they come up after 10 minutes or so, 1 day or 30 days, 1 year, so in that case also we need to maintain our section, right? So those type of sections. Okay, I'm just taking it as a section in order to maintain those type of states. Okay, so those are nothing but a state management. Okay, so when the user is storing nothing but let's say here when I am logging in the application, in application local storage, so we are storing so some user information, we are storing it. So here you can store like I'm storing the user token or something like that. So when like until the user token is there here, the it will not ask for the login again. If I remove this, if I clear this particular token, okay, now I cleared everything, right? When I refresh the page, it will ask the login page again. So these how the state management will work. So okay, the state management we have like another outside libraries will be there. So they will maintain the state. Okay, state is nothing but whenever user is doing something. So let's say here, if the user is doing something, if I like, if say, let's say here I open the invoice, right? and even I open the product page, so the state management will be open. Like the state is nothing but here the state, how the state is initially it is in a collapsed view, but later I changed this state to open, right? And if I move to another page, now the state is changing. But if we want to maintain these type of states in order to like open or as remove or something like this, so in order to maintain these type of sections, we need to have some state managements, okay, in order to preserve the user actions. Okay, we will store the user actions and we will maintain it somewhere, that is a state management. Okay, and coming to the React router. Okay, let's go into the router section. Router is nothing but a in between. Whenever we are switching it, right, in between the components. Now, let us jump into the examples. So now, if I go to the home, so if I open this particular page, now the basic example. So whenever I'm opening the products page, you can imagine. So let's say what I can do is, okay, so now I am instead of like in a Node.js install, I am just typing as a React.js. Now, whenever I'm hitting enter, here you can see the here you can notice the difference. Here it is loading entire page. When I enter it, here you can see it. The page is rendering everything. But so in our application you can see it. So this is coming under the single page application. Single page application is nothing but we have only one component. So in that part component, what we are doing, whenever they're moving to other products tab, what changes we need to show, only we need to change this particular component, the white space we need to change it, right? So when I move to product, you can see it. So only this particular white background space, so this space is getting changed. So not this menu or not tab navbar. So this navbar and side menu should not be changed. So now you can imagine. So here you cannot experiencing this reload option. So whenever I'm switching, so you cannot experience this type of reload, right? So why? Because it is only changing this component. It won't change the entire page. Again, I'm just opening the page. So now you can change it. Whenever I'm moving to products page, it will change immediately only for this particular component. It won't change the home navbar or top bar. So it won't even reflect anywhere. It only affect the sys center div. Okay, center division. Okay, so these how the routers. So the routers is nothing but
Hi,
so what the,
I'm so weak. Actually, I just had a question. I think just popped up in mind. And in the last page, there is a session details in the application thing. I
Mhm.
just had a question like if someone has the uh, access to this application part where the session is stored,
Hmm.
if somehow they get the access of this session area, they will have the access of this data, right?
Yes,
Or is
that's
it?
what. Yeah. So yeah, I got your point, but so that's the reason we are not going to share. Like we're not going to store excess information. We are only storing the token here. The token is nothing
Okay,
but your identity. Okay. Let's say if you are going to the movie theater. Okay. In the movie theater, what typically you are doing? So initially in the first step, you are taking your ticket, right? So that is your identity. So whenever you're going to and like whenever you're going inside, so the like the waiters or some like other persons like there are under the doors, right? So in that doors, so they're asking only the ticket, right? And by showing like by seeing that ticket, they will allow you inside. That's where it is happening, right? The same thing also happening here also. So this token nothing but a identity in between our application only. Okay, so this token,
okay,
whenever we are passing this token to the backend, okay, now you can see it. So I'm just passing that token now in the header. I'm just passing that particular token here, and you can see it. It will only present my data only. You can see it, right? It will only
yes,
present my
yes,
data. Okay, so like even though they have this token, so until unless they call this particular API, okay, so they won't get our information. Okay, So we are
Okay,
not
okay.
storing anything. We are not storing anything. We are just storing one identity of the user. So this is the identity of the user. So for every API, like for suppose if they want to, yeah, here the customer, whenever they move into the customer, so they need to access only for that particular customer details, right? Only the customers
Yes.
which are belongings to this particular user. Okay, so then what we are doing, instead of passing every information, so only they're just only showing the token rather than like passing every information of the user. They will only pass one token here. So this token is having all the user data. Okay.
Okay. I
Also,
understand.
also one
Thank you.
more thing, Pranit, just show me the JSON file which was coming from the API.
Yeah,
Just
sure.
one, yeah. If you look at the password, I think there is some username password over here.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, if you see the password, this is not the exact password. You if you put it
Yes, that's encrypted.
exactly.
Yes. So here for the password encryptions also, we have various techniques. We have MD5, MD5, and like we have some type of encryptions we have. We can also have, but so for the password, we only need to have the one way encryption. We should not have the decryption too for the password. Even as a developer, even though I have the database access, even we also cannot know the password too. Why? Because it can only like how I can say it. So it can only one way access. That means if I enter one password, let's say I enter something like Pranit. Okay, so it will give one ID like this. Okay, for the, let's say for the Pranit, it will give ID like this. And again, if I give like Somshekar, again it will generate another ID like this. So this is how we can decrypt the password. Yeah. Mm. Sorry, I'm getting network issues. Okay, so hope you can see my screen now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So here for the password encryption also, it is only a one-way encryption. So there is no other way to decrypt this particular string. Okay. So no one even, I also as a developer, I also, even though I have the database access, every access, even I also don't know whether what the password is. Okay, so like how we can debug it. So what typically we are doing is, so for every each type of character, it will generate a unique string. Okay, let's say for the Pranit, it will generate this type of string. And for again, if I enter the Somshekar, something like that, it will again generate another token, something like this. Okay. Okay, so like whenever I'm typing only that particular Pranit only, so then only we are just matching the both contents. Okay, the both contents. Okay, so this is completely nothing but a hash technique for the encryption. Hash password encryption, decrypted. So yeah, we are using the hash technique. So hash encryption. So this is how we are decrypting it, and we have other various methods too. That is the MD5. So those type of techniques. So for the encryptions, whatever things we need to, we should not show for the user, right? So those like we are doing like this. Whatever the like config file configurations which we should not allow the user to be see. So those type of information will be displaying like this. Okay, so yeah, so everything something like so rather than whenever they are calling every API, so they need to pass their identity, then only we are fetching it. Okay, so then only they can fetch this information. Until unless they pass the this token, I will also show this example too. So okay, so here let's say, yeah. So yeah, the customer get all endpoint will be there. So this get endpoint. So this is how the API will be there. So what it is doing is whenever user hit this API, it will present the data. Now, like without token, without any identity of the user, whenever I am hitting this particular API, it is throwing an error like no auth token is found. Okay, unauthorized. That means you are not authorized to access this customer API. Okay, in order to see this customer, you are not authorized person. It is throwing an error. But who can access this? So whenever they're passing this identity, that means the token, you can see it. So I am just passing the token here, and now again I'm calling it. Now I whenever I'm calling it, now I am getting all the customer information which are belongings to me. Okay, did you get the point here?
Yes, yes, yes. Completely.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, so that is how the backend and front end like parallel is going on. Okay, so backend is typically get the information from the DB and it will pass to the front end, and front end will take the data from the API, and it will show it in the populating in a front end. Okay, so yeah, so this is how the front end is, and we need to like have this type of this type of concept need to be in mind. Okay, reuse and lazy loading is nothing but, let's say, uh, yeah, coming to best example where we can see it. Yeah, so yeah, in the Google page also, let's say if you want to see the images regarding the WhatsApp. Okay, how the Google is working. So yeah, when I open the Google page, initially I can see it. How many I can see it? Around 10 I am, like initially I am looking into the 10, but so there are some like even 1 million records will be there, right, in the Google, for the WhatsApp there are 100 millions of images will be there, but they won't even show for the user unless what they are doing. So like initially whenever the user like seeing, so initially they will fetch 50 from the database. Okay, initially they will fetch 50 from the database and they will show it in the front end. But whenever you're scrolling it, so now you can see it, initially 50 is loaded, but whenever you are scrolling it, now you can see it in bottom it is empty, but when I scroll, yeah, now you can see it, the loader is happening, right? So yeah, so the loader is happening. Whenever I'm scrolling, every time the loader is happening, and again it is fetching for another 10 or another 50. Okay. So because initially it is useless, right? Initially, if you fetch 100 or like 1,000 millions or millions of record, it even useless for the user, right? Because they won't search for the millions of record, they won't even scroll for the millions of record, right? So what they will do is, so they will choose from 1 to 100, right? So initially we will show the 50 images. So whenever they're scrolling it, so then only we need to fetch the information. That's where the concept of lazy loading will be coming to the picture. Okay, so another main one is reusability. The reusability you need to like think of, like, so whenever you are writing something, you need to make a think of it need to be used somewhere else. Okay, so whenever you are writing on code, so definitely it should be useful some other places also. Okay, it should not limit it to that particular place only, it should be useful another place too. Okay, so that type of like coding standards only, so the web application will get remains perfect. So that's where even whenever I opening this page, now you can see it without any lag, I can move any page, right? So even when I open, so what we are doing, so initially we are not fetching the products information, but whenever they're moving to the products tab, so then only we are fetching it. Okay, so that's where even it will useful for the end user, it will not lag the end user, it will not having any type of disturbance for the user. Okay, so this type of reusability component should be there. So then only our web pages or our applications will be like so fast and user friendly, and also Google also will easily get recognized, like recognize us. Okay, so keep it in mind whenever you're coding the React. Not only React, so there are some key factors, which is the folder structure and reusability. These two components so can be applicable anywhere. Like for suppose if you are working on the Python, if you are working on the Java, if you are working on the JavaScript or backend, front end, wherever you're going, you need to have the folder structure and you need to have the reusability components. So that's where you have the more complex. You can also have the capable to do the more complexity tasks too. Okay, if you are not maintaining folder structure and if you are not maintaining reusability, so then it is typically it is happening like if they asked you to change one thing in a file, so then definitely so it will again, let's say if they ask just we need to change the search bar from the left to right, so in that case what we have to do, again we need to change it here in the product page, and again we need to change it in the customer page, again we need to go to the payments, invoice, quotations, expenses, every page we need to move it, and every page we need to do it. So rather than doing that, we have reusability concept. So we will write one code and we can use wherever we want. Okay, whenever the changes occurred, we will only change it in one particular file, that is the main file. Okay, so yeah, so this is all about the React application. And so let's now you got to understand the how front end is working and how the React is working, right? So I want you to start the React application in your local environment and just play around it. Okay, so there is own everyone. So if you are if you are learning anything from the Google, or it may be YouTube, it may be some other places, until unless you are you practice anything, so you won't get anything. Okay, if you are practice only, then only you are getting the questions, and whenever you're getting it the questions, just you have the multiple places nowadays. So in the nowadays we have the chat GPT, we have everything, and we have the every support everywhere, right? So just ask everywhere and get to know what the things you are difficulting, and wherever we are facing the difficulties, just play around it. Okay, so whenever you're playing around it, so you came to understand how beautiful the React is. Okay, so just I want you to start the normal basic local React application and play around it. Okay, so just make a note of this concept. So folder structure and state management, these type of things, and starting just start a application by doing something like arithmetic operations. Okay, so from the front end, so just do the arithmetic operations, and later go on to the to do application. Next step, first step is you need to practice something like arithmetic or something. Second step, better you need to have the concept like to do application. Okay, so in that to do application you have the concept like CRUD operations. CRUD operations is nothing but where we can have the create, update, read, delete. I will also tell you in the backend also what are the CRUD operations. And so those type of to do application you need to build using the React. So just play around it. Okay, now coming to the back end. So this is how the front end is going. Now coming to the second step, that is the back end. Okay, so now let me give you the basic introduction regarding the Node.js. So the React also a JavaScript library, and also Node.js also a JavaScript framework. So here what we are doing is in the Node.js, we are writing the functions where it will only return some certain type of informations. It will not show in the front end. There are only passing the information. Now what I mean is, let's say here the API. Yeah, okay, I remove that. Okay, so now when I took the customer API, let's say this customer API is there. In this customer API, what it is throwing all the customer information. It is throwing all the customer information. So in this customer information, so these are the customer information, right? So this customer information will be driven only from the backend, and so this backend will be passing like this only. Okay, it will not going to change the structure or anything. It will just pass these type of structured data, so which is in the JSON format. Okay, so backend only capability to pass the data like this. Okay, so okay, let's see how the backend is going. In order to start the React application, we have something like commands like npx create app or something like this, right? And for the backend also, we have the similar kind of commands will be there. Okay, so here we have the command like just like making a note of it. So first command is nothing but okay, so nothing but like make a directory. So this is the command, make a directory with the name of application name. Application name in the sense, let's say if you want to create a backend application for the test application, I'm doing test app. Okay, let's say I'm creating a test app. So this is how initially I'm making a directory, and after that I need to move on to that particular directory, change the directory to test app. Okay, after that I need to installate everything. So how I can installate it? So in order to installate the backend configuration, we need to have the command like npm init -y. Okay, so like this is the command for the backend to install the backend server, like backend configuration files. Okay, so there are initial configuration files will be there, right? So even for the React, we also seen that package.json is there, and node modules is there, and we have the public folder and the source folder will be there, right? So similarly, so these things, there are some configuration files need to be there for the backend also. So in order to create that, so for the front end, we are creating by running the command like npx create react app. But for the backend, we need to call this command. Let's see how it is going to be. So okay, now in here I am just making a directory like test app. Oh, test app is already created with a already created for the front end, right? Previously. Okay, let's see. Test app backend I just written. Now it is created. Now I need to have the cd, that is a change directory, to the backend folder. Test app. Oh, en is missed. Okay. Now I need to run the command like npm init -y. So this is the command. So please make a note of these commands. So in order to install the backend, so we need to have run the command like npm init -y. So when I enter this backend file, so now I'm just opening it as a okay. Okay, so now here, so when I installed this, okay, I'm just opening in the Visual Studio Code. Okay, so here in this package.json, so what typically we are having, we have the backend application name and what is the version. So like currently we are building it, and we have the keywords or the, so this information typically for the like SEO is nothing but for the Google, right? In order to Google recognition, we need to have the some keywords and back authors and description. These type of things need to be there. Okay, let's say if I want to have the in order to run the backend, we need to have the JS file need to be there. Let's say I'm creating server.js file will be there. So in this server.js file, in order to configure the API, so we are making this backend application for in making the application API, right? So those, in order to make it a API, we need to make a use of external resources like Express, and we need, yeah, Express, we need to make a use of it. So what Express is doing, so it is Express is like simply nothing but it will have the capability to start the server locally. So let's say I'm just installing, in order to like install the other packages, that means external packages will be there, right? So those packages, in order to install in our application, we have the command like npm installed. Npm install command will be there, and after the npm install, we need to have the Express. Okay, so this is nothing but Express is nothing but a package name. Now where we can see that npm install express. So here in the Google, I am just typing express node.js. Okay, now I'm going to the npm page. This is the npm js page. So where it is having every npm packages. Let's say if you want to make a use of something like in the backend, if you want to generate the pdfs, so we have the other packages. Initially only I told the regarding the bootstrap. So why the bootstrap is no, like needed, because we don't need to add the css from the scratch, right? Rather we are using we are making a use of the bootstrap. The similar way, in order to do the some like some already predefined logical operations in the backend, so we have the express package. So whenever we are calling this express package, so initially what I'm doing is, express, I am just copying this command npm I express, right? So I am just pasting it here and I will enter, hit enter. So it will install this express package. Okay, and once it is done, now again I'm going to the code. So okay, in the server, what we need to do is, we need to do okay. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so what I am doing is, so I just install this express package, right? So in order to use that express package in the application, so in this file I'm just calling, sorry, importing. So this is a statement for the importing the express library. So whenever we are completely importing to the one variable, that is the express variable, and in this express variable, so I am I'm just dumping into the one variable, that is the app. So initially what I'm doing, I'm just listening at a port of 1000. Okay, I'm just listening at a port of 1000. So what this 1000 is doing is, let's say I need to stop everything. Okay. So at 3000, I'm listening it, right? So like in order to run this application, previously for the React, we have the npm start, right? So for the backend, what we need to have is node space the file name in the sense server.js. Okay, just hit enter. After that, server, like after the file name, just hit enter. Now you can see it, server is running it, this localhost 3000, this particular page is showing. But whenever we are opening this page, but it will not show anything, can't get something like it is showing, right? So but in order to show it in that particular route, if there is nothing like after the 3000, after the url, if there is nothing, that means it should be a slash route. We are calling it as slash route. Okay, so this slash route, so we need to define it. How we can define it? So we have to use the app dot. So for the API, like, do you know the current operation? What the current operations is? Okay, let me like tell me these current operations. Current operations is nothing but create. Okay, C for create, and U for update, R for read, D for delete. Okay, nothing but, so in order to do any type of actions, is nothing but in our application. Let's see in our application only. So let's say we have the products, right? So initially we have the create functionality, create a product. So whenever the user fill this data, so okay, whenever the user filled this data, again for the backend, we need to pass this data to create, right? So like what we are asking for the backend, so we are asking the backend to create, and we are asking, like we can also ask the backend to update it. it, because so here we have the update option, that is nothing but edit option, right? So this option, this edit option is nothing but a this like already existing information need to be edit. Okay, so this is nothing but update. And delete operation, delete operation is nothing but a so already existing one, so we need to whether we need to delete or not. Okay, let's see create. For the create, so we have methods. Methods are nothing but for the create we have the post, for the read we have the get. Okay, so these are the API methods we are using. Previously I showed those APIs, right? For the grow invoice, for the grow invoice you can also see for everything. So for the product you can see it current operations, so that is about post. Post is nothing but what post is, post is nothing but a create. And so there is a get, get is nothing but to read. And slash put, slash sorry, put is nothing but for update. And delete is nothing but to delete. Okay, so these type of API methods will be there. So these methods in like in name itself they are representing the current operations. If you want to do the create any type of record, so we need to have the API method as post method. So now if you want to display the user, okay, in order to display what we have to do, we like the user need to read, right? User is need to read. So if they want to read it, what method we need to have, we need to have the get method. Okay, get method. And initially we are having the slash route. Slash route is nothing but initial route. Initially this is slash route, right? So initially when they hit the slash route, we have two function variable, that is the request and also the response. Request is nothing but what typically backend, as a backend, what typically they we are getting it. Okay, request is nothing but what they are requesting it. Let's say, okay, let's see the example. So here in the grow invoice, let's say I want to create a product like something Maggie, and currency is something UAD dirhams, and there is no things, and price is 100, something I have given. And so when I save it, now you can see it. So initially what it is doing, it is sending the, it is hitting the products API. And what is the method? Method is the post method, that is nothing but create method. Okay, for the post method, so it is sending all the required information. Now you can see it, right? So it is sending all the information. Information is nothing but what the user entered. Okay, what the user entered. For the name they entered the Maggie, and price they entered the 100, and type is a goods, and currency, so instead of currency we are having the ID. So there are like this type of things will be passing to the backend. In the backend what it's taking, so we are asking the products API. That means we are hitting the products API, right? So that means we are training as a developer. What we are doing is we are training slash product API. Whenever user comes to slash products API, first thing we need to check what is the method. Okay, and based on the method we need to take the user request. That means for suppose here the post method, right? So that means we can also understand, so they want to create something. Okay, in order to create we need to have some data, right? We need to have the some data from the user. So that is the data we are capturing, so we are passing it. So what as a client what they are asking is, so they are sending this data and they are requesting us, like requesting the backend to create a record in the DB. Okay, so what typically backend is doing, it will take this record, it will take this request object. Okay, it will take this request object and it will check the like what is the method. Based on the method, it is a post method, that is a create method, right? So based on the create, that means it can understand that okay, we need to create the data. So that's where it will think of like that, and it will throw an error after completing the record inserting. It will throw a message like okay, products created successfully, something like that. Okay, so this is how the data is handling in the backend. Okay, So we have the various option. So only typically from the backend we are doing only these four operations. What is so like that is post, get, put or patch, and delete operations. Okay, and for the create, what we need is from the user. We need to definitely we need to have the data from the user. Then only you can create a data, right? Without even anything, you can't create a data. That's the main reason, right? From the like create means from the sense like from the create sense only it is like we are thinking that we need to create something. In order to create it, we need to get the something from the user, the data. Okay, so we need to ask the user something like that. Okay, so that is the first thing. And second one is a read is nothing but so the user want to read something, and from as a backend we need to pass like pass some data to the user. Okay, let's see the example. So here this text this information, the table information is nothing but so it is the user can see it, right? So whatever the information they are seeing it, so those information will be coming from the API, that is a get method. Now you can see it, it is a get method, right? So from the get method what we are getting, what the things they already created. Now you can see it, it is getting two records. That two records it is displaying in the like table, right? So that's where the API is. So the get is nothing but whatever the user need to see. Okay, so whatever the user need to see, that is a get method. Whatever the user want to create something, so that is a post method. Whatever the user want to update or delete, so that are the update and delete methods. Okay, so these methods will be handled after the app dot. Here we need to pass the method. So here I'm passing the route. That means after the localhost 3000. Okay, after the localhost 3000, here I'm passing the slash, right? That means whenever they are requesting this slash, we are what we are passing, we are sending hello world something, this message. Now you can see it. Okay, I need to save it. Oh, I need to restart the server. So in order to stop the server, I need to press the Control C. And again, I am like running this command again, node space server.js, the file name. So when I hit enter, now you can see it, hello world is displaying. Okay. So the same thing, like here, we are just sending. That means in the response dot send, we are using send. Send is nothing but to send the data something. Okay, and similarly we can also have the slash API router in doing it. I'm restarting the server. So slash route, whenever user accessing slash API, yeah, whenever user accessing slash API, you can see it hello API is displaying. Whenever user accessing slash, it is showing the hello world. We are differentiating it, right? So based on the route is nothing but whatever the things they are passing after the like what the pages they are looking at for. Okay, so that is called a route. And response is nothing but what the response we need to send to the front end. Okay, response is nothing but what the response we need to send for the like end user. That means for the front end. Okay, the request is nothing but whatever the things coming from the front end. Let's say here, in order to create a product, we are passing this information, right? So this information will be coming for the backend in a form of request, okay, let's see how we can get it. So for suppose app dot post slash API will be there. Okay, so in this slash API, what we are doing is, let's say I'm just thinking like, so maybe the user sending one name. Okay, user may be sending. I'm just thinking of like user is sending one name. So how we can like debug it? So in order to debug it, we need to use the console log, right? So previously I also told it. So request dot yeah, I think okay. request dot, and after that we need to return the response to the user. So yeah, how I am returning the user. So initially for the post API, let's say they are passing the request. So from the body we are what we are getting, the name we are getting it. So the name, the same thing I am passing the like as a response. Here you can see it. What I am passing a message called hello API, and within the name I am passing whatever that they're typing it. Let's say I'm starting the server again. Okay, so here, what is the API? Slash API, right? So in the slash API, okay, in the body, so in the slash API, and method is a post, right? I just put it as a post, and I'm hitting the API. Now you can see it. It is showing the message as a hello API, and after that, I'm printing the name. Whatever they're typing from the request, right? If they type it something, the same thing will be showing up here. Okay, typically instead of showing directly to the user, what we are doing in between returning. So here we need to store it. We need to write a logic to store in the database. Here we need to write a logic to store the name in the database. Okay, so in between these lines. Okay, so how we can do that? So in order to do that, so I hope you understand this, what the CRUD operations is, right? What CRUD operations will do it, right? So basically for every user they are only do these type of things, right? For the from the back end. So whether they will create or read or update or delete, these four operations only they will do it. Other than that they won't even do anything. Okay, so just make a note of these four things in a mind whenever you're dealing with a backend. Let's say also how we can store it in a database. Okay, so in order to so this how the backend is working. Okay, now you understand, did you understand the backend, how the backend is working? So this is how the backend is working. So I hope you understand, right? So this is how the APIs are returning. Okay, how the response is sending.
Anyone has any question?
No, sir.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. So after this, so there is a one more step we are moving it. That is connecting the backend to the database.
Pranit,
Okay.
these
Yes.
APIs are only called endpoints, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, so we are moving to another concept, that is connecting the backend to the database. So there are various steps we are following in a market, in the outside market. So we have in order to communicate with the DB, we have something that like technology like SQL, right? For the SQL databases, we have some queries. In order we need, in order to insert something, in order to read something, in order to delete something, we have the SQL queries, right? But typically I don't know whether everyone won't even keep understand those type of queries every time, right? So rather we need to have someone need to generate those type of queries for you. Okay, let's say even that ChatGPT also doing the same. So what they are doing, so even if we ask something, so hey, just write a comment, like write a query to to create an object in a database for this name or something like that. So it will just create a query with SQL. Okay, it will just create a SQL query, right? So rather than doing that, we need to have something in between. So in order to communicate between the databases, again we are having the another step like Prisma. Okay, so Prisma is nothing but it is just a user-friendly language which is used for the Java, for the JavaScript. For the JavaScript, it is basically what it is doing is it is just simply a writing how we are writing the methods right here, the APIs, the endpoints we are writing it, right? How the endpoints are returning the same way, we can also make a use of the Prisma, and Prisma will generate a query inside it. Okay, Prisma will generate a query inside it. We don't mind about it, but what we are doing, we are taking help from the Prisma. Prisma is nothing but it will help the user to generate a queries based on simple nature language. Okay, let's say here you need to store the name in the database, right? So in order to store this information, again you need to like in my understanding, so you need to understand the SQL query. Let's say I'm just writing the SQL query constant SQL query is equal to, so yeah, so there is a SQL query, so insert into users. I hope uh, yeah, I got the network. Okay, so this is a SQL query which need to perform in order to store the information, right? But every time we should not use this type of SQL queries in our in our code, because so whenever like there is a change in something in the schema, so again we need to change it everywhere. So rather than doing this type of like hard coded strings, what we are doing is we are making a use of external providers, that is a Prisma. So Prisma is a layer in between backend and also in the both back in the databases. Okay, so what typically like Prisma is doing is, let's say Prisma, yeah, I got the picture. Yes. Okay, so now you can see it, right? So here, what it is saying is Prisma client. Is it like Prisma client is nothing but a, whatever like the developer is writing. Okay, we have something nature language writing code, and using this language, so you can see it, right? Prisma dot user dot find many. Find many is nothing but, so like in the name itself, it is checking that find many. That means you need to pick many like multiple elements from the DB. It is just asking like that Prisma dot user. So what it is asking, for the Prisma we are asking, we need user data and we need many data, not only one, we need many data. So that's what we are asking. So what it need to be do, so it need to be gather all the user information and we need to throw it to the front end. So in that case, we like what Prisma is doing is we will write the code like
আমাদের
this.
আমাদের আজকে অফিসে তথাগত ক্লাস নিয়ে আছে।
Sorry.
Roy, hello.
I
Okay.
think
Anyway, continue. Yeah.
yes. Okay, so here the like Prisma dot user, like user is nothing but the table name, whatever the table we are having, the table name. So find many is nothing but a method, nothing but for the create. So we have the find one, find many. So this type of methods will be there. Find many is nothing but we need to pick all the things. Okay, so whenever we are writing this type of line, this is a user friendly line, right? So we just need to have this type of like English in my mind, so we can easily implement these type of things. But so what typically do is, so whenever we are writing it, we have the query engine inside the Prisma. The query engine will generate a SQL query. Okay, the query engine will generate a SQL query and it will pass the SQL query. Here you can see the second step. First step is we are passing the like the what line we need it. Okay, second step, it will generate the SQL and it will pass it to database driver. Database driver is nothing but take the SQL, it will take the SQL query and it will it will querying based on the databases. Okay, so it will pass to databases and database will be passing the query response, whatever they they are passing the query, right? Based on the query, it will pass the response to the database driver, and again the database driver will pass the response to the query engine, and again the query engine pass the data to front end. Okay, this is how the data will be there. Let's see how we can do the Prisma in a Node.js application. I want to start it from the scratch. Yeah. So this prisma.io is a like so their official website. Initially you can see it, right? So it is having the command. So which is Prisma latest, it is having that command, right? So I'm just making a run this command. That's it. I just like run the command. I won't do anything. Yeah, it is running. Maybe it may take some time. Okay. Yeah, would you like to continue to authenticate? Yes. Okay. So after that line, so what they are asking, get started for free. So okay. So they are asking for the login. Okay, let's see the documentation too. So when I move to the documentation, so let's have this current operations. Yeah, Christmas CLI. Yeah, first thing we need to run this particular command, and after that, npm. Okay, so after that usage, we need to have the npx Prisma. Installation is already done, and okay, so I will start this section, and here after installing the Prisma, we need to install like Prisma. We need to run the command like Prisma init. Okay, it is not showing it up. We need to have the Prisma client. Okay, okay, yeah. So now, okay, so now introduction and setting a new project from the scratch. So yeah, so now so they are giving so these things, and after that. If we need to download this Prisma client, we need to download. So this is the second step. It is not removed. First thing, we need to run the command like npm install Prisma. I'm just writing it here. Npm install Prisma, and after that npm I something like Prisma client. So after this command, again we need to run the command like Prisma init.
Pranit, can you go
Sorry,
to package.json once? Which version is installed?
6.5.0.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, go on.
Yes. So here I need to run this command npx Prisma init. Init is nothing but installizing. We are installizing the Prisma dependencies in our application. So let's see. I'm just installizing the Prisma dependencies. Once I run the command, you can see it. It is running. It is created the Prisma folder here, and also the environment file here. The environment file is nothing but whatever we are having the keys, right? So that means the database URL it should not expose to the public, right? So those type of keys need to be stored in a env file. Okay, so here the database URL, I'm just removing this, and here so we need to have the schema is nothing but, let's say you have some databases like database tables are there. How I can example easily is, let's say for suppose you have to take some user information. Okay, let's say if you want to take some user information, I just like there, let's say there is a one there are eighth class will be there, and for eighth standard so there are multiple sections will be there, that is around 5 sections will be there, A B C D E. Okay, so in that a standard, so I pick one user, like I pick one student and ask that particular student so to gather all the students which are interested for some particular cultural activities. Okay, I asked that particular student to collect all the students who are interested to participate in certain cultural events. Okay, what that user will do, it will take one sheet of paper and he will just write one table, and like he will like write one table with the columns like name, something like identity, and what the cultural event they are performing. So this information they are storing it, right? So whatever they are storing in a paper, we are just doing in a databases. So that is the only one thing. Okay, so similarly, if you want to like store some user information, now you can see it. So I just created one user model here with email, like sorry, name, email, password. Okay, so this id created it, updated it, these are for our references, so these are not for the other user. So these are our references. What we are doing is id is nothing but for every user who are coming here. So we need to generate one unique id for them, right? Whenever they are creating something, so we need to generate some unique identity to them, right? So in order to do it, so we need to have the default value as something we are generating it. Okay, so this information, this name, email, password, so this information so need to be captured from the user. Okay, again you can also see it something like unique here. What where I put it is unique. So here for the email I have the unique option. Unique option is nothing but the email should be unique for every user. Why? Because there is no multiple user again for all the users is having, right? So if we are taking two persons, they won't have the similar emails, right? They have the unique emails. That's where even this is the unique identity of the user. Okay, so we are just finding unique emails. Okay, so this how the models, nothing but whenever I am like I pick the student, right? Let's take the that example as well. So what they're doing, they pick the email and they pick the phone number or something. Okay, and after that they will give the like culture name, event name, something like event name. Okay, so the same day and event date, so something like that. So these are the information, whatever things we are capturing from the user, we are storing it. So like they are doing, typically they are doing in a paper sheet of paper, but we are doing in a databases. Okay, so the same thing it is happening like this only. Okay, but yeah, so now let us take an example. Like I already written everything so in another file, so I will just show it everything there. So here in the env file I just took the mongodb. So mongodb, so I will show that mongodb is as well. So like why I choose this MongoDB is MongoDB currently it is a free version. Okay, so for your like even if you want to like know the knowledge of the how the DB is working, so you can also make a use of this MongoDB. You just need to go their official website and just create an account there, and after that just create an account there and log in. After that you need to create a cluster there. Cluster is nothing but like a wrapper cluster among the databases. Okay, so I created this cluster. So yeah, so in this cluster, so in these collections, we have the user table here. So this is the database. User is nothing but a data. Sorry, the test is a database, and in between the database, I have the user table here. Okay, and within the user table, I can store all the user information here. Here you can see it. Currently, I have only one record. That is my record having the email and name, and there is an id also, unique generated id. Okay, so what we are doing, so let's see an example here. So here in the environment file I just have the like database url here. Okay, I just have the database url here. When I insert, it will coming from the mongodb only. So you just need to insert the mongodb url here. Even I will share this github repo also. Let's see. And so I just have the database url here, and in the prisma, so we need to provider, in the place of provider we need to have the mongodb here instead of. So previously it is something like defaultly it is PostgreSQL, I think, PostgreSQL. So like we need to remove this one. Instead of PostgreSQL, we need to have the MongoDB, because we are using the MongoDB, right? So we need to have the provider as a MongoDB, and URL from the environment variable, we are getting the database URL. And so I just created one user table here, so which is ID, and it is automatically defaultly generating. It is auto, so that means there is no name it as, and it is automatically generated. And we just need name and email from the user. Okay, so this is how the table will be there. And after you after you created a model, something like after you created the table, you need to run the command like npx prisma generate. So previously what the command we run, so yeah. So previously we have these comments, right? And after modifying the table, we need to run this command like prisma generate. This command need to be run. So after generating this command, so it will dump this section in a database, okay, with the empty records. Initially, let's say I want to create like a model culture event, something like culture, okay, ID and name and date and time. Okay, I created the, so this culture, and after creating a table, I need to generate it. Okay, once I generate it in the DB, let's see. No, all good. Okay, it is not generated yet. Okay, so now what we can do is in the index.js. Previously, I created a server.js file. So the same thing here also we are doing it. So here I am rather previously we did only the Express, but here I am also importing the Prisma client here. Prisma client already we discussed about it. So the Prisma client what is doing? So the Prisma client will take the query. Okay, it will pass the our user natural language to the query engine. So in the front end, in the back end, we need to use the Prisma client only. The Prisma client will take care all these scenarios, all these things. Okay, so we are just passing our information to the Prisma client. Let's see. So for the Prisma client, we are just picking the Prisma client, right? And we are storing in the Prisma variable. And for the Prisma variable, here you can see that I just created one more endpoint for the slash user, and that is the post route, right? Post route is nothing but a create operation. So I'm just asking the API to create a user with the help of, I'm just passing what I'm passing, name and email. Okay, I'm just passing. Now in this 11th line, you can see it, constant user is equal to await. Await is nothing but simply we are we need to wait until the record is created, right? So that's where even await is nothing but, so it will wait until the user is created. Okay, so here what we are doing, we are passing dot prisma dot user, like prisma dot user is nothing but for the prisma we are mentioning the table is user table, and in that user table what action you need to perform, you need to create a data. What data you need to create? You need to create name and email. With this help of name and email, you need to create a record in like user table. That's what we are instructing the Prisma. Okay, so this Prisma will generate a SQL query. Okay, in it will generate a SQL query. It will execute it in a database side. We will not going to bother about those. Okay, let's say how we can run this. How we can then, so we have the node space the file name. File name is nothing but a index.js, right? Index.js. In order to test the APIs, we have many things like Postman. Like you can also explore the Postman. So here I'm using a Thunder client. So in the Thunder client, I just created a new request, and here in place of URL, I just have the localhost 3000, right? We are running the server at 3000. That means local after the localhost colon 3000, and after that, what is the API route we are putting? /users. Okay, after that /users, and method is post. Yeah, method is post. And in that post, what data we need to post? We need to have name and email. Both should be there. Okay, so whenever I am sending this request to the backend, like when I click on the request, what it is doing? Yeah, it is creating. That means whenever we are getting the status, it means it is creating. Let's see in the DB. So previously I have only one record. Let's see after I refresh. So yeah, after refreshing, I have two records here. Again, in the schema level, we already put the email need to be unique, right? So again, if I pass the same email again in the second time, it is creating. That means the unique string is not working. So in that case, we need to check it here itself before this step. Okay. So this is the first one. We need to error handling, and these for the create operation, and for the read operation. Let's see for the read how we are doing the read. So we are having the get /users. Let's see. I'm making another request in place of URL. Yeah, so there is a URL, and what is the method? That is a get method. Okay, let's see, I'm hitting the get method, and when I hit the information, so you can see it, right? So we are set, what we are doing, we are find many, we are passing find many, nothing but that means it will find many records, that means all the records, and it will throw to the front end. Now you can see it will find all 4 records, because in the DB I have 4 records. Yeah. So in the DB, currently I have 4 records. That's what even for the front end, whenever I'm using, sorry, from the back end, whenever I'm using find many, I am getting only like first for all the records from the DB when I use the find many. Okay. Let's say like here in mid, yeah. So if you want to find one particular user, okay, if you want to find one particular user, there is already one common string is there, right? That is ID. So this ID need to be passed in URL. Here you can see it, right? So after /user and / you need to pass the ID, and what we are doing, find unique unique in nothing but, so find unique where id is equal to whatever they're passing it, right? So we are just checking where id is equal to their in the request they are passing it, where they are passing in the request they are passing it. Okay, so whatever they're passing in the request, so like we need to equal that id. Okay, so I'm just passing the command. Now you can see it whenever I'm sending the icon. So it is just picking that particular record. It will not pick another record. Okay. If I enter something instead of ID, if I enter something, it will throw an error. Okay, it will not show any data. Okay. So this is how Prisma is going to help us. So like in between communicating with the databases, what we are doing, we are just writing one function in a basic user language. In these scenarios, you can also see it. Find many. It is basic common English word, right? So find many, find unique, dot update. So it is basically example helpful for the user to understand, easily to understand. But inside that, what it will do is the Prisma will generate a query, SQL query. It will execute it in MongoDB. Okay. So this is how it will generate. It is using. Okay. Yeah. For the update one. So for the update one, what things we need? So for the update, in order to update, let's say, like if you have some identity, let's say you have Aadhaar. Okay, in order to update the Aadhaar, we need to have the Aadhaar number to be there. Okay, then only they can change it. So initially, whenever you want to update your Aadhaar or something, any type of identity, so what they are asking, something like reference they are asking. Okay, so with the help of the reference only, they will update your data. So similarly, in order to update any record, let's say here in the DB, let's say I want to update this Pranith record as name to Pranith to Somsekhar or something. In order to update it, I need to something have the unique identity, right? So that should not present for other data. What identity this record will have? This ID. This ID is a unique thing for the every record. Okay, let's see. Using this ID, okay, what they are doing, slash user slash ID. So here slash user slash ID, I need to pass it, and method is a post method, sorry, put method. Okay, put method, and from the body I need to pass name and email, right? Now instead of name I'm placing Somsekhar. Okay, so now instead of email, I'm just using test Gmail. So now when I hit this, currently I have 4 records, right? It will not going to create a record. Instead, it will update a record. What record it will update? The record which is belongs to this particular ID. Okay, that query we are writing same, right? So in, sorry, update where id is equal to, we are passing it from the request, we are passing it, and what the things we need to update, the data you need to update is name and email. Okay, similarly, let's, when I hit this, you can see it, it's updated the record. Now when I refresh the database, now you can see it, we current, like, still we have the 4 things, but for the first thing, previously it is a Pranith, right? Now it is changed to Somsekhar and whatever the information we are giving it. Okay, so now the last one is a delete method. So we need to pass, the only we need to change it, that delete method need to be delete. So delete, that's it. So it will delete, so you can see it here. So we need to delete where id is need to be, like whatever we are giving it, right? So it need to be delete, where it need to be delete, in the user table. We are just saying in the user table you need to delete where id is equal to the requested id, we are sending it, right? So it will delete the record. Yeah, user is deleted. Okay, now when I refresh this, now I need to have the 3 records only. Let's see. Yeah, currently I have 3 records. Okay, so this is how we are doing the CRUD operations in a backend. Okay, so from the front end, we are structured the data, whatever they're like filling in the form, right? They will structure the data like this, and they will pass to this particular endpoint or API. Okay, so
Can
yeah,
you,
so
can you also show that from where we get the environment file, the database URL?
yes, sure. Yeah, okay, here itself. Okay, so in the cluster, okay, whenever you created the cluster, you have the connected button, right? So in this connect button, just click on the connect button. So here, what environment you're doing it? So we are doing it in the Node.js, and we have the constant string here. So just copy the string, and so yeah, in the environment file, just yeah, changing this line to this, and here you need to change the password. Initially it is having the default password, whatever you kept in the password. I just kept the password as test123. You need to give it that password here. Okay, so yeah, so this is how you are getting the connection string. So this connection, like the connection string is nothing but it will helpful to connect the DB. Okay, yeah, so this is all about the backend. So still all about the front end and both backend. So still, do you have any doubts regarding the front end or backend? So if you have, so just ask me now. Otherwise, I will move to next step. Did anyone have any
Guys,
doubts or?
guys, any questions? Shavik, Pratik?
No, I was just going to ask that question that Tadagata said you asked.
Ah, okay, okay.
Okay, right. Okay. So yeah, I'm proceeding to the next step. So that is okay. So okay, let's move to the like deployment. Okay. Okay. So everyone
But
knows the GitHub, right?
did we talk about the integration between front end and back end? Like how will they talk actually?
Okay. Let me.
That part is
Like,
there,
I will
yes.
tell you. Yes. So yeah. So previously we are hitting the API like this, right? So the similar way we are also do it in the front end. How we can do it? So in the front end, let's say we have the form, right? Let's say they have yeah. So what data we are storing it? So in the backend we are storing name and email, right? Let's say we are taking name and email from the front end. Okay, name, and this and name.
So guys, just to give you a summary, till now you have learned how to make a front end independently, how to make a back end independently. Okay, so now what Pranit is showing is how you can combine both of them so that they will work as a single unit. Yeah, Pranit, continue.
Yes. Okay. So here when I run the okay, I need to change the port in the backend. Okay. So
What
now
is
I
this
am
port?
running the
Port, both the front end and back end needs to run on separate port. Why he changed it? Because earlier, you remember the front end was also running on 3000 and the back end was also running on 3000. So both of the application cannot run on the same port. That is why he changed the port in any of them.
Okay, sir.
okay. Now, like the front end will be on a 3000 and the back end will be on a 5000 port. Okay. Now we have the front end application. Now, whenever I'm entering the name and email and hit submit, currently we are like whenever they're submitting, we are showing all the data in the console, right? So rather, what we need to do, we need to pass it to the back end. How we can do it? So in the front end, we have one thing that is the axios. We have the like external, again we need to go to the external resource, that is the axios, or again you can also make a use of inbuilt functions too, that is so like previously we have the link, right? Localhost colon what the your like port, so 5000 slash, so that is the users. Yeah, what I'm doing here, so here. Okay, so what I'm doing, so whenever the event is occurred, like whenever the submitted, the form gets submitted, we are fetching one API, that is our backend API. I just written the URL, right? So previously, whatever we are returning, so like whatever we are hitting in the like URL, so this URL I just replaced here, and here the method what I'm passing, the post method. That means I am instructing the backend to create a record, okay, to create a record, and in the body I'm just passing the form data, that means name and email is there, right? So that data I'm just passing it. Okay, yeah. So now you can see it. So here then whenever it's get completed, then is nothing but whenever the action, that means whenever the data is get like stored, so then the response is printed, or else or else so the catch function will get executed. Catch is nothing but the error. If there is any error, it will get executed. Let's say okay. Okay. So now, what we are doing? So like we are passing our data to the backend, and if the backend is successfully completed this event, and then we are printing the response. We are just printing the console. Okay, what we are doing success, and after that we are printing whatever the data coming from the backend. Okay, or else if there is any error, we are printing in a console log. Okay, console dot error instead of using the, here we have the catch tag, right? So this is completely nothing but a then and catch. Then and catch is nothing but a, so then we'll print only after the success. Okay, catch will a catch will executed when there is a error. Okay, let's see. Here I am passing both the data. Okay, when I pass this, you can see in the network tab, it is hitting the API. Yes, but it is failed. Why? Because currently both are in a one field. That is, yeah. Okay, referral from. Okay, from the back end again. I need to have one more thing like course error. I need to make a use of this course too. So why? Because course is nothing but, so we don't know whether the request is coming from various locations, right? Okay, in order to make a use of course, we need to install it. npm i course. Okay, course is nothing but like it is something like a middleware. So like we have these APIs, right? But we need to restrict who is calling these APIs, because like there are some other users may also call these APIs, right? But we need to restrict those. So in order to restrict those, the course will like help us to have the middleware in between them. So currently, like I'm allowing all the user and just testing it, right? So I'm just allowing all the users, and when I submit it, yeah, okay,
Full form of
application is
CORS is cross origin resource sharing. Okay.
no, it's still hitting. Oh, okay, okay. I need to restart the server. Okay. Localhost colon. Oh, L is missing. Now you can see it, right? So here, a local host, right? So here I just give the local host. I need to have the local host name here. Okay. When I remove this, okay. When I hit submit, right there, go back there. So yeah. So when I hit the submit, let's see. So here in the response, log again it is calling the same.
I think you need to restart the server once more.
Okay, right. Local. Okay. Let's see. I'm just passing test at the rate Gmail. Okay, after success, so I just want to print it as a let one, let user added successfully, something like that. I want to print it. Okay, let's see here. Test2 test2 @gmail.com. Okay, let's see whether the IP is getting hit or not. Browse collections. Okay, it is getting a error like empty database name. Okay, when I hit the enter, so it is calling the back. Test Gmail. When I hit enter, so it is calling the API. Okay, fine. Yeah. So now user added successfully, print like message got printed. Now, if if I go to the database and refresh these things, now you can see it. The text, email, and name is added. So again here, I'm just passing test2 and test2 @gmail.com. So when I submit this, user added successfully message got printed, and again after refreshing here, so yeah, now you can see it again. So the test2 also it's get record get inserted. Okay, so this how we are calling from the front end so to the back end. Okay, so we need to have the URL and method here, and if there is any information to be passed, we need to pass it here. Okay, so yeah,
So data
currently
now went from front-end text boxes to your database through the backend. This is what happened.
yes. So here the localhost 5000 is nothing but a backend. So again, it is hitting slash users endpoint. That is in the index. So slash users endpoint is hitting, and again the method is post, right? So again it will hit the method post, and it will like do this operation, and it will execute. Like, it will do all the processal steps. Okay.
Questions?
Any questions? Do you have?
No, yes, every clear, clear.
Okay.
Okay, so just like play around this type of things, and so even like MongoDB is having the free access for everyone. Just create an account in the MongoDB and just create a database here and connect the database from the MongoDB to Prisma. Okay, after that you can just write a curried operations there for each use like for each table. That means here for the user I created, so along with the same create a culture also or create some other information whatever you want. Okay, so that's there. And coming to, yeah, if you have any doubts please ask it now, so that I can proceed to next step. Okay, so okay, I will proceed with next step. So that is like you all everyone know about the GitHub, right? Did everyone like all you know?
Yes, 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 yes.
Oh, so GitHub is nothing but it is just a platform where it will give access to everyone to work in a single project. Let's say there is one project like something like Grow Invoice React application will be there, and in this project, let's say there are five people need to be work, but so everyone should not work in the same page, right? So some are working in a different page. Let's say if I am working on the home page, and that next person, the second person will be working on the product page, and third person will be working on the customer page, fourth person will be working on the payments page, like that they're picking each task, right? In at last what we need to do, so we like there is a one user where he will gather all the files from all the five members, and he need to make it as a single file, right? So that's where GitHub will help us. So we will like everyone can work in different branches at last, what they are doing is, so they will push the code to the one branch, that is a main branch. After the after it get deployed, so every file will be in a single GitHub folder. Okay, let's see, even though you worked on payments, you will push your code only, not the other code. Maybe I will push the home file, you will push the payment file, and another person will push the product file. So that's where GitHub will helping us to simplify this type of multiple persons to be work in a single project, right? So it will simplify those type of things. Okay. Okay, the same thing. So let's say we need, like, whenever we are done with a React application, so just post those codes in your GitHub application, in your GitHub repositories, and after that, so just do one thing. So after that, most thing you have to do is you need to learn the deployment. After you code something, you need to deploy it and you need to move to the live, right? So this grow dev.growinvoice.com, it's already it's completely developed in my local system. But after completing your development, again you need to go to the live. URLs, in order to go to live. Okay, so you need to learn the deployment too. Okay, so again there are two steps. One is the front end development and second one is the back end development. Okay, so back end development is completely Linux server, and front end front end is just a folder. Okay, let's say you will have uh, like so currently our front end code is on the Hostinger. That's why I'm opening the Hostinger page. So here in this page, Hostinger page, so I'm opening our Grow Invoice page. Yeah. Like for every web page, currently I am using dev.growinvoice.com, right? So there is a one dev folder will be there. In this dev folder, we need to put all the public file. Okay, public file. When we need to insert it, so after your changes, after you completed your changes, you need to run, you need to stop the server. After that, you need to run one more command, correct? Build command, npm build. Npm build is nothing but okay.
Run
Sorry,
build.
run build.
Hmm.
Yeah, so when I run this command, what it will do, it will give you the one build folder, whereas it will all the files whatever you are writing in the JavaScript, right? So it will combine all those and it will generate one HTML code. Here you can see it, right? Here it will generate only one HTML code. So this HTML in the this build folder, whatever you're displaying the build folder, right? So this build folder need to be inserted directly here. You can see it directly. What things I have? I have the static folder that is already there here. And so yeah, all the folders. So this complete folder need to be there in a GitHub. Sorry, in the folder like this, in the server. Okay, just you need to copy all those and you just need to upload it here. Okay, so we need to upload it directly. We can upload the folder or we can upload the files here. Okay, so this is a one step, this is a complete deployment of the front end. And so every time, I won't even think so everyone so will not do these things, right? Because so whenever you're completing the changes, again it is not even good for you. So just after you worked on the changes, and again you need to run the build command, and again you need to copy paste all your files, right? Again all your build files, right? So this not a good enough. So what we can do it, we need to have the automation in this step. What automation we can have it? So typically we are maintaining our all the code base in a GitHub, right? We are maintaining all this GitHub, all these files in a GitHub. So similarly, here we are following, right? So for the Grow Invest React application, we already having all the code here, right? So here we will have one YAML file will be there, deploy YAML file. So what we are doing, .github folder will be creating, and in that dot folder we will be creating one workflows folder will be creating, and in the workflows we need to create .yml file, whatever the name may be. We need to create .yml file. Okay, in this yml file, so typically you can see it. So what I'm doing, so whenever on push branches, what the branches, that is a main branch. Whenever there is a whenever someone is pushed to main branch, whenever they push it to main branch, so we need to run this deployment. This is nothing but a CI/CD pipeline. We are calling it as a CI/CD pipeline. So pipeline is nothing but whenever I completed the development, right? Let's say here I take the example of front end code.
Let's
So
deploy the
if I
front end
change
we just
something,
made, right?
uh, sorry, bro, I didn't.
Let's deploy the front end we made just now in this session.
Ah, yes. So here, so whenever I'm completing, so here I already changed one file. Let's see what is there. Yeah, I just removed this. Okay, so here, yeah, so let's see in the home screen, whenever you complete the development in the local system. Okay, let's see in the home page, let me in the dashboard. So yeah, in the overview page, I just changed something overview. I just added S overview, so something like that I added. Okay, so when I just added S, right? So I need to just push this command. I don't want to do anything, because rather than doing npm build again, I need to wait until it complete, and again I need to log into the server. I need to upload all the folder, right? Rather than doing this all steps, we are asking GitHub to do it. Okay, so how the GitHub is doing? So we are instructing the GitHub to do it. How we are doing it? So here, whenever the push is happening to GitHub, okay, we are having some jobs. Jobs is nothing but first thing, we are creating an environment file, because this environment file so should not be pushed to GitHub, right? So like wherever you're opening, so you cannot find this GitHub. Yeah. So, yeah, okay, it's already there. I don't think. Okay, it is having only one information. Okay. So having this information, it's fine. But whenever you're having the database strings or something like that, you should not push those type of things. Okay. So to the GitHub, whatever the keys or something. Okay, so here initially we are creating a env file. After that we need to deploy the website. So what we are doing, we are in the front end also we are doing the same thing. What we are doing, so initially we are run the command like npm build, right? Okay, so the same command will be run here. So with the help of the node version 18. Okay, we are using node version 18. After the command, it will directly it will connect to the server with the help of these credentials. Server name will be there, server username will be there, password will be there. And what folder we need to build? We need to build the build, right? So this build folder need to be deployed. So this build folder will be deployed in a directly. It will run the pipeline. Currently, like previous ones are failed. So yeah. So once it's deployed, what it will do is,
Pranit,
yeah,
you
it
can
will
show the
see.
example of the last pipeline you made for Grow Limitless, or that everything is working, right?
Yeah, that's better.
And even you have .env.sample file, which was automatically name was changing. I think that was better example.
Yes.
Yes, this one, Grow for font. The first one, yes.
Yeah. So here you can see it. So there is one front end and also both back end is there. So in the front end you can see it. What we are doing is, so yeah, whenever there is a push happening to one branch, that is a feature payment rail branch. So whenever they are pushing to this particular branch, this name only, so we are creating a jobs. And so in this first step, what they are doing, so what we are doing is we are calling, we are setting one Ubuntu server, that is a Linux server. Okay, so in the Linux server, what are the commands need to be run? So first we need to set up the Node.js, right? Because in order to run this front end code, we need to have the Node.js, right? In the initial step only, I told that we need to have the Node.js need to be installed in your local system. Then only you can do all this front end and back end React.js and Node.js. Okay, so in the Ubuntu server, we are initially setting the Node.js. After that, we are creating a env file. Okay, and we are creating a env file. You can see it. After that, what we need to do, we need to like install all the packages, right? npm install and like npm run build and npm run export. So here like we have three steps, but currently we don't need these three steps. We only need install npm install, and also in order to build, how many what the command we need to run. So we need to run npm run build, right? So just this command need to be run, and after that we need to like pass all the information to the server. So what the server, we need to have the server name here and username and password. Okay, so this file will be moved, so this particular server, where, so here in this folder. So then automatic deployment will be happening every time, so we don't need to do anything. So whenever they push something, so just they will modify it and they will push it. So after that immediately the pipeline will be running. So here the pipeline is running. Okay, after, yeah, the pipeline is automatically get running. So here you can see it. So initially, so it is setting the Node.js. This is the first step, and after that it is setting the env, and after that it is installing. First step it is installing, and second step it is build, like it is generating the build. Okay, and the last step it is moving, uploading the static files to the ftp is nothing but so file through like protocol, file transfer protocol. So it is just a, like in order to transfer our files to the server, we are using ftp. Okay, so yeah, you can see it. So file is replaced with a 404 html page and admin.html page. It will just replace everything if it is already there. So or else it will just create it. Okay, so this is how the pipelines are working. Okay, we don't need to do any type of step. So everything will be, GitHub will be taking care of. Even the backend also. Even for the backend also, we are doing the same thing. You can see it for the backend also, for the Node.js. Yeah. So we are creating a steps. So initially what we are doing, we are setting a node. This is the first step. So okay, so that is only, and also after that we are installing some dependencies. Okay, and after that, yeah, yarn install, we are like we are doing yarn install. So this is a common step whenever we are like we are doing any type of project. So first you have to install all the dependencies required to that particular application. Okay, and there is a env file. We are creating an env file there, and yeah, so this is a step to start the server. So first initially we are stopping all the existing one, and we are deleting all the existing one, and again we are starting it. That means restarting it. That's it. Okay, so this how the pipelines are getting. So this all are nothing but, however, like whatever things you are running in your local system, right? Those command only we are writing in a server, like in this pipeline only. Okay, so this YAML files. So these YAML files like will be taken care by the GitHubs, and they will continuously like doing the actions whenever they are pushing something. Now you can see it. What things they are doing it. So yeah, so now someone pushed one thing, so that is, so they just like modified something, so they just added one space here and they just pushed it. So they will not do any type of change, just they made two lines change and they just pushed it, right? So after pushing that, immediately the pipeline will get run. Okay, so yeah, after like immediately pushing that, so after that like the pipeline will get automatically get run. So here you can see it, the front end pipeline is getting run. So okay, so automatically it get deployed to the front end. There is no other person is involved to deploy your changes. Okay, GitHub will take care all your changes. Okay, so this is how we are like handling full stack developer. As a full stack developer, you need to handle first thing, front end, how we are coding the front end, and what are the key steps need to be put it in your mind to like to code the React application. And second thing, so how you need to debug the front end code. Okay, the third thing, backend. Okay, so how we are writing the like APIs, CRUD operation, those things. Okay, and fourth step, so how you need to call the APIs in the front end. So that is the fourth step. And the fifth step, how like there is a last one. So how we need to deploy the server, like deploy the changes. Okay, so just study these things after you get understand how the full stack developers are doing. So you can also like so until so like below the stage you cannot understand whatever we are telling, so we just have like we just show the basic we just share the only basic information. So as you like as an audience, you cannot understand by below the desk, right? So you need to jump into the like a river and you need to like do all the things. So you need to play around the code, so then only you can like you can understand what the things are going on in the like as a developer, and how you going like you just need to run like start the server, and sorry, you just need to run it and you just need to play around the code. That's it, then only you can like understand so how the development is going, how the deployment is going. So until unless you started or you started playing around the code, you won't even get anything. So that's what like even my suggestion too. So just play around the code and just you can do whatever, and you have the best platforms nowadays. So that is the most interesting part, that is the most beautiful thing. So you have the AI support also. It is like if you ask anything, it will directly give you the code. So just you need to understand the code, that's it. You won't even do it for the scratch, right? So there is no not even there is no point in doing from the scratch. Even as a developer, me also won't do anything from the scratch. So just we are doing, so we are taking from help from the other resources. And but so whenever you're taking, you can also take, but you need to understand whenever you're using it. So without understanding, you never use it, you should not use it. Okay, so that's my suggestion. Just
Pranit,
even yes.
can we deploy the front end and the back end we created now? Just to show
Uh,
how it is done.
but for the backend, we need to have the like something server, right?
Yeah, we you have the our AWS credential, right?
Mm, but it's taking too long, bro. So because you need to set up it, right? It will take. So in order, like, we need to create a Ubuntu server.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe can I show some like some after some time or later, because it might take some long time. Even.
Okay, okay. So when do you want to connect for that? Tell that.
Like probably or like tomorrow or like after Saturday, like next week Saturday. It's fine.
Okay, okay. Okay, so
Yeah.
next week Saturday we'll have another session where he will demonstrate this but two front-end deployment and back-end deployment. That's it, right?
Yeah.
Have
Sure.
our credential, right, Pranit? The AWS credential?
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
Yes.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
any questions, guys?
No, sir, everything is good, quite good.
Okay, okay. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
so thank you, Pranit.
Thank you.
It will be great if you share this presentation, the PPT which you shared, as well as
Yeah.
the
Sure.
code which you made in GitHub, maybe, or
Yeah.
somewhere,
Sure. Sure.
so guys can go through it. So thank you for
Yeah. Sure.
joining. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Okay.
you, sir. Thank you.
Bye bye.